Grandad got fat. Aoife was tired. Tired of having to worry every time she had to bring her father to the hospital and if it would be the last time. Tired of having to care for him alongside her daughter all by herself. Tired of her father's thunderous, hacking coughs that disrupted her work just as often as Emma did. She pulled up into the driveway, having just come back from the chemist to restock on cough syrup. She prayed that Emma had behaved herself for once. She scooped up the bag of medicine that sat in the front passenger seat and stepped out, fumbling to get her keys. The front door had barely closed when Emma rushed into the hallway, hugging her mother's leg, screaming and babbling. "Ma'am!" She repeatedly squealed out through frantic sobs. It took a second for Aoife to put down the cough syrup and suppress the instinct to give in to her frustration at having yet another day punctuated by her managing some sort of crisis. "Shh, calm down, pet," she cooed gently, running fingers through her daughter's ginger hair. "What happened?" She squat down to Emma's level and looked at her in her tear-soaked eyes. Grandad got fat." The little girl sobbed, pointing at the door leading to the sitting room. Aoife's brow furrowed in confusion. "What do you mean?" was all she could say before her daughter's sobs spiked in volume and intensity. "I don't know." Emma wailed, her crying was so intense she began coughing. Aoife felt her heart buzz with that familiar anxiety, that her father had finally passed away. But why would Emma phrase it as him getting fat? The question nagged at Aoife. Stay here," Aoife muttered to her hysterical daughter before standing up and pushing open the door to the living room. Her mouth opened to scream, but the noise died in her throat, reduced to a whimper. All she could do was stand there, trying to come to terms with what now sat in that armchair. She understood now what her daughter was trying to say. Grandad wasn't fat, he was bloated. His body had swelled up to the point his white buttoned shirt had split open, revealing a misshapen and lumpy belly that undulated and moved like a bag of starving rats. His mouth and chin were stained with a chunky yellow liquid that gushed out like blood from a severed artery. Through wet, choking gasps and a torrent of that liquid that stank of rancid milk, Aoife's father slowly opened his mouth. A lump formed in his chest that moved up towards his throat and out between his lips. And when Aoife saw the sick, squirming thing that had taken her father, she nearly broke down. She had been mentally preparing for her father's passing for weeks. And it was so much more horrifying than anything she could imagine. She turned and picked up her still weeping daughter and she sprinted, away from what now lived in Grandad's husk. Emma coughed and spluttered on her arms, still in hysterics. Aoife reached to wipe the spittle away. And then she saw the spit was far too yellow.